Have all of you on with us this morning. A very good morning to each and every one of you. How are you folks doing this morning? Bernice and Mandy, good to see you. Ronaldo, good to see you as well. And Lynette Finance, good to have all of you on the broadcast this morning. Do let us know how you all are doing. How are you all doing? And checking in with you all this morning. How are you folks doing? Before we before we run ahead of ourselves, how are you doing? Claire Capel, Claire. Bernice, Manly, how are you guys doing this morning? Good to have all of you. Nap Joe, good to have you on the live as well. And Avril, check in with you all as we begin, as we commence, as we start. Good to have you all here this morning. The coffee this end is cold a little bit by now, but it is what it is. And we take it cold, hot, in between, iced tea, coffee tea, Milo tea. You know, we ain't picky. Good morning, Avril. Good to have all of you on with us today. Today's Thursday, the 4th day of June. Tomorrow is Parliament. Our attention is going to be on that. But good to have all of you on with us today. The sitting of the National Assembly is tomorrow. And maybe we do a late show. I got to check to see what time they started. Yeah. These boys know they're not Parliament in months. They would start at 2, you know. Start at 2, finish at 6. The basic coming to mark the names present. Selena, Avril, Pritia, they coming to mark the name present. And then they're gone. The Mystic. Good to have you, Ingrid. All you fantastic folks with us on the live this morning. The live with us today. Now, we're talking quite recently about a sit-down leader of the PNCR, Mr. Norton, had with Camps TV. And he said a number of things, you know, about one in particular resonated with us, the rejuvenation of the PNCR, of which I'm a part. A proud part too. Beverly. And he talks about, you know, some unpopular decisions sometimes got to be taken. But it's all part of leadership. And as we begin this morning, I thought we ought to reflect on that. Take a look.
Leader of the People's National Congress Reform, Aubrey Norton, has said that the political party needs to be rejuvenated, but this seems to be a problem among some in the membership.
There has been some amount of sidelining, and it's a natural process in a political party that wants to rejuvenate itself. When you are a political party, yes, you have your hardcore, you have to work with your hardcore, but you also have got to breed new blood. I mean, if you look at the PPP, I mean, they're in government, so they don't have some of the stresses of opposition, but they are breeding new persons and sidelining some old ones, and you hear them complaining. There will always be that problem once you're seeking to rejuvenate, because it's zero sum in some regard. If it's just 20 and you take out 10, 10 has to be sidelined.
The People's National Congress Reform has seen some defections in recent times because of this approach. He said that not all have been sidelined to accommodate new people. He said some were set aside because they themselves pose problems.
I mean, if you look back at the APNU, AFC in government, there were some people who were there a while. If you took them back, you were virtually saying to the populace, you didn't care, you don't care about what they did when they were in government. There were many who became inaccessible to the people.
Norton said that when he had to select 12 people for the National Assembly, he had to take those factors into consideration.
You will see that I brought in 6 people and maintained 6 that were there before. I don't want to get into the details, but I do believe a party has to consolidate and rejuvenate at the same time, and it can be a very difficult process.
He said that there is need for some discipline among the ranks. Principled positions mean a lot.
We are in a fight against a political party that discriminates against us politically and ethnically. We're in a fight against a political party that does not believe resources should be allocated to people outside of their framework. We are in a political fight with a group that believe in control and domination. And in such a fight, you have to be steadfast and committed to principles. We are in a fight with people who are prepared to bribe every politician. I can tell you I have had offers from as far back as 1998.
Welcome back. That is their principle. Their principle is to bribe. You know, they'll be the first to tell you that. You know, that's the kind of principle some people got. Bribe and buy out everybody. Not on merit, Lydia. I'm happy to be part of the 12. You know, I'm happy to have been thought worthy. And I hope that I always walk worthy. You know, Selena, I ain't taking you all for granted. Not taking you all for granted at all. We're good to have all of you here with us this morning. Lorelli, I see over 200 of you are here with us this Thursday morning. You know, I feel like lacking some good sleep. You know, it's a 500 plus miles into Latem Region 9 by road. And I wanted to see so much of what's going on. So I hardly slept. You know, I took a power nap every now and again. As you can't. I admire people who could sleep through that trail, bumpy trail, and people snoring. I had my eyes wide open because I wanted to observe and look. And when we stopped to examine what was going on very closely, so I feel like I got some sleep backing up. But I put in a couple hours next week while I'm off. Now, put in a couple hours next week. But good to see so many of you with us this morning. Lydia and Mandy and Edward. I want to turn your attention to what's happening countrywide. Okay, I'm saying Coquania Region 9 alone. Countrywide, what's happening. But I saw my colleague, my friend Mark Gorin, talking quite recently, within the last 48 hours, about the continual rainfall that's happening at Kokwani. And he said it looks very reminiscent of when you had the major flood in Kokwani. Was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago? You see, it's more than just saying you put some committee into action, some crisis management flood watch committee. You're in a position to make a difference in people's lives. You empower the powers that be. So it's not just watching a problem and hoping it goes away, but you got to bring around the table the competent people. And one of the things they've been talking about is drainage being overwhelmed. Drainage. Well, the drainage can be overwhelmed if you have drainage. The drainage can be overwhelmed if you have it. And part of what we pointed out yesterday morning is the fact, the absolute fact, that some roads, Sabrina and Mandy, Lorelli and Nabjo and Rastaman, roads being built without any culverts. And if they're culverts, some of them are insufficient. Tessa? Insufficient. And could we talk about the fact that the new fad is roundabout and 4-lane? The latter in particular, taking up a lot of reserve or what was once drainage. Nabjo, thanks for that contribution. I see it there. Thank you so much. I see it there. Thank you. They're taking up so much of land that was once drainage to do the 4-lane. And not taking into consideration, Jacqueline, where is that excess water now going to go? It has to go somewhere. We didn't sign a deal with the rain and said, don't fall as much, 30% less, because we put 4-lane. Margaret, you think you understand what we're talking about? But you see, they've made interventions, and this is countrywide, of course, with additional pumps and excavators and embankment works and drainage improvement. Again, Richard Sinclair, very good morning, former member of parliament. Good to have you on the live. And Richard, I know at your end there in Madia, you have some challenges too. I've been looking at Daniel Fraser posting in Region 8. They got their own set of basket of issues. Flooding. So you could have roads that are built, no culverts, drainage is taken up, reclaimed for land. We want 4-lane because we want to look modern, but we're underwater. We might be modern underwater. I heard this on the scene. I traveled the entire 600 plus miles from Georgetown to get into Lethia. Hunt-Trial stretch, badly affected. And then the Payara Bridge. I stood there with those people. Listen to them. Me had to ask a question, you know. I had a focus group. Workers, contractors, nurses, clerks, all trapped in that bridge. And people just venting. I didn't ask a question. I just there listening. Making notes, you know. I got out my phone, you know, your phone got the note app. I didn't ask a question for say, they got to skew it, or I said, waiting with this crossing government. I didn't say a word. I'm traveling with people who know the area and they talk, and I just listening in. People who recognize me. I never announce myself and say, hi, Zempi, on a fact-finding mission. What do you think about this? I had no loaded questions. I didn't lead in no questions. I just listening. I said, oh, yes, that's how they feel. Poor work with the culvert, approach to the bridge bad. Drainage. I was looking at a documentary quite recently. I was looking at the Chinese had a problem in a particular area that was inaccessible for a long time in China. Don't ask me the name of the area. It was a deep gorge that separated these two landmass. Deep gorge. Nobody believed they could build a bridge from one point to the next to bridge this area. And I watched those guys build a bridge over 800 feet in the air. It's so high, it's literally among clouds. A marvelous piece of engineering. And you tell me, we can't even put in proper drainage on flat land, flat road. Men could imagine and achieve the impossible. Build a 6-lane, 800 feet suspended in between two long points, two distant places. And we're on flat land and we can't even drain itself properly. What's all this money for then? What's all this money for? What is it for? So they've said, this is government, that hundreds of acres have been affected. Hundreds of acres of agricultural land. Now we're talking countrywide flooding. Right? Countrywide flooding. See, you get now some cash grant now. Again, it's going to be friends, family, and favorites. Friend, family, and favorites. Right? You know, the bar in this country set low. Right? I saw some 4x4 giving some healthcare workers a ride. And I hitched on. Those ladies dressed in the branded t-shirts, they're going to work. They're going to work in all that rain and water. And we got a bill in Parliament, not for them. We got a bill in Parliament to give the president and vice president more money in the pension. I see the meeting with the US. I know the US know a thing or two about design and build and infrastructure. They've got some fantastic marvels. That bridge I was talking about in China is recent, within the last 10 years. They say it's the highest bridge in the world. The Americans have done some marvelous things as well. Right? Couldn't we bring some folks to help us? Couldn't we bring some proper people to help us? Look, build, man. Build. Build. But by God, give me something, man. Give me a little razzle-dazzle architecture. Do something. Right? Every time I approach, I don't know if it's me. Every time I approach the ogre around the boat, I get very anxious. I get confused. I don't know if it's the patterns, the ones and zeros, the lines, the color. Every time I approach that ogre around the boat, railway embankment and the Ogle Road, the Ogle access now, I get confused. It's a confusing place. You ain't got a piece of architecture that you could say, wow. Nothing. You could look and say, wow. The new Harbor Bridge. You got lights all over the world on bridge. Where's the? The city was always there. You know, we've been given drone shots for a little bit now. Bertrand Henry, thank you so much for your contribution. Bertrand, thank you. We've been giving drone shots. So we always knew what the city line looked like from high. From high. When you come over the bridge, there's a beautiful view of the city. No ifs, no buts, but it was always there. We didn't build it. It's just up 50 meters higher. But if you ain't got one thing, Jesus, you ain't got one proper building, one proper bridge or road you could look at and say, You know what's the best looking road we got? the Mabura Road. The Mabura Road. And we built it. The Brazilians built it. It's not a big, flashy, transformational design. But the thing is built so well, they even have to paint it up with all these stars and stripes, like lipstick on a pig for trying to pass it off. People say, good art, you have to explain and explain. You know it when you see it. When you see the bridges and the road, you know how the people design the shoulders and so on. The people don't even trust me, they import their own grass to plant the carpet. They bring their own grass. The grass literally looks greener on the other side. They bring their own grass. Don't bring your wild grass. Don't bring your confusion grass here. The people bring their own grass, Snap Joe. I went back on the road a few weeks ago when I was going to Mardi and then let them again. I said, why this grass looking so little extra? And when I inquired from people who know what's happening there, they said they import the grass. So, did you think them people want we ugly grass for spoil their road? People import the grass, Don't put your cast grass next to the proper road, and then you can attack me and say we build good road because you have grass pulling it down. Bring your own grass. But while we engage the Americans, we're not engaging the Americans for betterment for this country now. You know why they engage the Americans? To keep them in power. That's why they're engaging them. Keep in power. We are one. That's how this thing is mutually beneficial to them. The PVP. Because they believe that the Americans say, they've been duly elected, they got to go. They need to count no ballots and so on. Once Trump says, yes, I agree with this thing. I added myself. Clean bill of health. No matter what CARICOM Observer Mission Report and Commonwealth Observer Mission Report and the EU Observer Mission Report talk about undue influence and use of state assets and use of government projects to campaign and all of this and a lack of campaign financing laws and corrupted voters lists and all of that and undue influence at GCOM and it's too politicized and all that. Don't worry about all of that. Once they maintain power, you see, and they believe the Americans are their friends, not partners, not colliding or not colliding, coinciding mutual interests. Oh, it's friends. It's friends. Them as my friend, as my brother. That's what they believe. And that's why they ain't really got no interest in Parliament. Then come 4 o'clock and they're gone by 6. Rush through 6 bills, rush through 30 questions from the opposition, and they're gone. See you in 4 months. See you in 4 months. And then they come one day in August, next day's recess for 2 months. See you back in November. And that's it. We had a robust legislative agenda and we gone on. The Americans don't pick up, don't say anything, we good. Or, like the American ambassador recently, oh, I like the direction the government is going in. Whole country flooded. Whole country flood out. Why are you all engaging the Americans? Oh, oh. You're asked for the drainage expertise now. Huh? Ask for the drainage expertise. Please. Please. The meeting on energy, or the Met on energy and defense, is according to Hugh Tadden, Foreign Secretary Robert Prasad, Minister Hugh Tadden, Foreign Secretary Robert Prasad, who led a Guyanese delegation to Washington from the 1st to the 2nd of June, meeting with a range of officials. They said they spoke about energy security, border security, irregular migration, illicit trafficking, investment in border and border diplomatic cooperation, among other things. Oh, this drainage thing, could we solve it now? Could we solve it already? And we didn't even invent these stories, you know. We got the means to solve it. We're about to begin to pump 1 million barrels of oil a day. Right? I am not one for name calling. But I meet some stupid people who would say, why the coalition didn't do it? Why the coalition didn't do it? When I was young, I was given to profanities. I try to stay away from it. I understand language and word usage, and I could find other words. You know, I try to stay away from, spitting profanities. But think about it. So when I see them stupid people in my head, I'm confessing my sins one to the other now. When I see them stupid people, I say, why the coalition didn't do it? Why the PPP who went 23 years before them do it? Your stupid self. And then in my head, I add a lot of things after them. A lot of things. You had 23 years before, but you didn't do it, and you were bright. We had 3. And we had to fix your mess, your nonsense, and your stupidity. And you want to know why we didn't do it? Well, you get back your stupidity now. Stupid people. Why the coalition didn't do it? You know what the coalition did? The coalition created the architecture, the financial architecture in the, the Natural Resource Fund Bill Act 2019. They came and they repealed it. Why they repeal it? Because they couldn't dig out everything as they like. Right? They repeal that act. And then they come and they tinkle every year. One year they say we can only draw out 40%. They come back next year and say, well, we can only take 80. Next year they come back and say, 99.9% we can take out. Because the money flowing. The projects we have to repeat, complete, repair, and do over. All those monies can go and pay public servants well. Right? Reduce housing costs for people. Heal the sick. Look, People dying in this country for the want of medical care. Right? And affordability. My heart bleeds every time you see somebody out there with cap in hand because they don't have the finances necessary. I know they're coming in National Assembly to do. They want uncapped medical coverage. Uncapped. They want you pay for the liposuction, the tummy tuck. They want you to pay for the Manjaro. You must pay for the, what's the other one? The more popular one. Huh? You must pay for the slim fit, slim down. They want you to pay for the carnival and the mash. Yes. If they change the eye color, they want you to pay for it. And people are dying in this country because they don't have money to afford the medical care. They want you to pay for the Ozempic, the Manjaro. As Mandy said, is I pass. They want you to pay for the Brazilian butt lift. Thank you, homie. The BDL. What does that mean? I hear my wife in conversation with her family and her colleagues sometimes. BDL. They want you to pay for the teeth. I pay for me own out of pocket. They want you to pay for the false foot and the blue pill. They want you to pay for the false hair. BBL. I see, I didn't even know. Who's GLP? Who's GLP now or GPL? You don't pay the light bill. You don't pay the phone bill. The transportation cost. You're giving them care, plus driver and gas. You're buying the bed, the sofa. You're giving them a staff. You're giving them a 3 million pension. Every time the president gets an increase in his salary, all of them pension increase at the same time. The children health care taken care of. Right? The traveling first class. And they want more, you know. They want more. They want you to pay for the enlargement. And poor people in this country suffering. 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 But we're about to produce 1 million barrels of oil per day. How much my life change? Huh? How much my life change? $200,000 cash grant. What was the COVID grant? How many COVID grants we had? 2? 230,000 and 25,000. 300,000. You can live on 300,000 for 6 years? Huh? People got it rough. You know, I was listening to somebody talk yesterday morning. And the person said, it's only 1.2 million salary. You know, when I went to Kokwani, I was hearing people talk about land, and they say they get an allocation, but they can't pay. Allocation is $200,000, 300,000. I might as well have been 300 million. You think it's easy? You think it's easy in this country? We are producing so much oil. And the average Guyanese got to think, how I can pay for this $200,000 land? You know? I visited with a lady who was squatting, and she was about to be thrown off of a piece of land. Our problem is so complicated. It's never one size fits all. She said, Mr. Duncan, I'll tell you this. They give me a piece of land. She said, yes. But she said, Mr. Duncan, I couldn't pay for it. And then the lady talked to me and tears well up in my eyes. She said, Mr. Duncan, I had to give them it back. I said, give me something cheaper now. You give a lady squatting a piece of land for 500,000, 750,000. You think she's squatting because she want just go and take up land and live anyhow, and you are the mercy of the wind and elements and sun and rain, insect and mosquito, chicken, Bigfoot. You get somebody squatting a piece of land for 700. You think they got 700,000 right in the bank book that said I can squat here and live anyhow? I ain't got no toilet. I ain't got no bathroom. That lady said, you know, sometimes you think you know what the problem is. You see somebody squat, you say, well, they need to get these people land. But could it be that they really want to get the land? If I squat there, you give me a piece of land with $2 million. You can't say never offer you land. You can't say a government never made you an offer for land. All right? And I can see them saying, Mandy, oh, she's refused the land. What else could we do? We've offered. We're about to eclipse 1,000,000 barrels of oil per day. 1,000,000 barrels of oil per day. Right? I want to say, I hope we're spending this money right, but we aren't. We aren't. I see Big Smith show a hole in a roundabout recently built, a pothole. And they went and patch it. He said, don't get any Edgel story, right? You got quote to scripture in Edgel, read a psalm, and he study up himself. But the money we took to patch that hole of a road we just built could have gone somewhere else. I showed you Heroes Highway. In particular, the Diamond Roundabout approach. Some big cracks. All my life, I hear concrete stronger than asphalt, concrete road. I never even thought about quality, you know. So I thought once it's a concrete road, good to go. And when I look and see this concrete road, this is not 10 years in. Who builds a road with a lifespan of 10 years? But it's not 10 years later, and the whole stretch of that road, you go up further, Diamond to Busby Dam. The whole road warping, leaning on one side, collapsing on the other side. And they don't want you to talk about these things. If it hurts because it's the truth. The road is not 10 years old as yet. All of them is under 5 years. All of them. And money now, you got to go and spend and put back, build back, shore up. Could have gone to something else. 2 weeks ago, did I take y'all on the quarantine to JC Chandan Singh Street and show you the sidewalk? You know, the canopy bridge at Ira Cramer more steady suspended in the air in the forest. That canopy bridge is more steady. The sidewalk kilo over, sir. The sidewalk kilo. That's the design. You got to spend money now and go and fix that. That could have been solving some other problem. That funding there. You don't fix the back now. Yeah. So we got the money. But people doing their own story. Huh? People doing their own story. Look, I've been to Latem, Madia, Mabaruma. I've been all over, all 10. And I have seen roads that we have built. Latem, for instance. People were in government for 23 years before, and the township of Latem had dirt roads. And without oil money, we put concrete road in the township. Mandy, Sabrina, if a line, you know, we say it in colloquial terms, God strike me down. I searched the road for a crack. I searched the Latem main road there for a pothole. I inspect it, I can't find it. Where the government services are concentrated in Maparuma, they call it the compound. That was dirt road for 23 years, and without oil money, we said the township must look like a township. Putting concrete roads there. I search, I spin around, I kneel down, I put my head to the ground, I put my eye, I put on all fours. I can't find a fault. That road stand up 10 years later. And roads built last week, crumbling. And they point a finger to us and say, we corrupt. We try for rig election. We can run a we record. We could not. Maruka had a bridge like the pavement in Rose Hall. And we built a new bridge connecting 2 points in Maruka. That bridge stand up. Like when I drink black tea, I eat a pot bake. A hot pot bake with little butter. How you stand up all this and walk? Huh? That bridge stand up. You got thing built last night, falling apart, falling to pieces. And then you see somebody with a spade trying to dig a hole for photo up, or a fork, or a pitchfork, or a hoe. You know? I was listening to Paul Stowe yesterday morning. I can play it for y'all later, tonight perhaps. And Paul Stowe said he grew in the country. And Paul Stowe said, everyone holding the spade wrong. Whatever you was holding. Slow see holding it wrong. Slow said, this is photo up. Because if he was accustomed to holding a tool like that, he would know how to hold it. He holding it wrong. That's what Paul Snow said. Hold it wrong. But we will continue to hold him to account. We will continue. And I continue to say, right? I continue to say, we have to keep our eyes. Too many macro issues. Getting a free pass. And we've been majoring on the minors. Right? Everything matters. Everything matters. But I think as part of leadership, you got to put first things first. Took me a long time to understand that. First things first. It has become cliched now. But I want you to think about that as we wrap up this morning. During your day, run it through your mind. We say it often, it has become cliched, overused. So it has lost its potency. We got to put first things first. We've been consumed. Who could run by more wake house than who? Soon somebody told Spring, who could meet first and take a picture? I'm not consumed by that. Right? Like I said, everything matters. These things matter. They matter. But we got to put first things first. There's a plethora of macro issues in this country that needs our attention. And so these boys getting a free pass, a free pass, a free pass. Right? I got to talk about us too. I talk about the PP. Let's talk about us a little bit. Let's talk about us a little bit. You got 12 up-new MPs, 16 win MPs. 16 win MPs. And you go and see. Do you feel the weight? Do you see 16 and 12? Do you feel that? I'm talking about what Asruddin Mohammed doing. Asruddin is a member of parliament. He got to as leader of the opposition. I ain't saying calling name for say this MP and win and walking or this MP and afternoon walking. But I'm saying we got to do more. The larger point I'm making is that there's a plethora of macro issues in this country that getting a free pass, because you know what? They're sexy. When you discuss them, you ain't getting no likes and shares. If I was at a more to see now, this live would have 10,000 on it. But you see the unsexy issues, the policy shaping, design, implementation, oversight, accountability, and so on. They ain't got a lot of applause and shares and likes and so on. But those are the issues that if we get them right, we move this country forward and in the right direction. For I say that. So all around, they pull up with socks. All around. I ain't following nobody. You understand me? I'm me lane. I'm in my lane. That's what I'm doing. And focus on the task I have to do as part of the team that I'm in. But we got to do more collectively. Right? We got to do more. That's our time this morning, folks. Thanks for joining us, each and every one of you. Good to see all of you folks this morning on the live. Over 900 of you. Fast set of people. But good to have each and every one of you here. Good to have you on, Hewley, and good to have you on, Gwendolyn, and I see Marilyn is here as well, and Dalit and Lorelli. Naomi, good to see you this morning. I hope you're good. I hope you're good. Good to see you, Rastaman and Gideon and Lynette Nelson. All the Linnets are on this morning. Guys, that's it for us this morning. We're going to see you guys back on our next broadcast. Have a fantastic, fantastic rest of the day. That's our time today, and that's our broadcast. Stay safe. Thanks for joining.